Welcome to Life Less Ordinary. I thought I'd just give you an update on a few of the projects that we started last year and over the ensuing year. So it is the beginning of September now. One of the projects that we started was the Leptospermum that I took cuttings from the trees down the side, particularly because I was after one of the varieties, the lemon scented one, which I haven't been able to find in the local nurseries. So I'll link the video that I did last year, but what happened was I took some cuttings, about 7 centimetres, put them into seed raising mix and kept them growing undercover through the winter of 22, so that hopefully I could get some that I could then plant on. So down here, this is where after probably spring of 22, I then planted them here into little pots. So they were in a bigger tray. However, what I did find was I kind of neglected them, and that wasn't a good thing. I probably should have potted them up a lot quicker. So in the end, only one did actually strike, and I was able to pot that up into one of these. Now, thinking about that, that's how tall that is, and that's been a year. Is that worth it? Like I said, I was after a particular variety that I've found hard to source from the local nursery. So yes, in terms of that, but no, because I can actually get a much bigger plant, more like 20 centimetres plant in a 10 to 15 centimetre pot for under $20. Given that I'm actually wanting to plant a lot of them along the side as a hedge, it may be worth it, but yeah, probably not. Yes, if it's after a particular variety, but no, because there are other varieties that are available quite readily at the local nurseries for not much expense. The next project was the pineapple crowns. So I'll link this as well. We potted up some pineapple crowns, I think in February or April of this year, and put them, actually they were whole crowns, and I divide them into 4 and then put them into compost mix and put them into pots. I was going to put them inside, but that didn't end up happening. I did just put them under cover here and then gave them water every week. So the reason I was putting them under there, or the thought was to put them inside, is because we do get fairly decent frosts here, and pineapples will not tolerate that frost. So had them against the wall for all of winter, and this is what we have. So I ended up planting 8 out. So I've got 8 pots, and what we're looking for, this is the original part crown that I planted, and then we have this pup that is growing off the side. So just quickly looking, there isn't anything in here, there isn't anything in this one. There, I can't see one in there. This one I only planted a couple of weeks ago, and I planted that as a whole crown. But there's nothing there yet. But this one here, there's a pup off the side. Nothing in this one, however, it is still fairly, it has some life in it. This one here, yes, you see the crown here, the pup, sorry, coming out there, and there's another one over the back there, but I can't see anything. However, there is still some green life in these fronds there. So this is a long-term project, because these will probably, ow, that's actually quite sharp. These will actually take 2 to 3 years, so probably 2 years now for us to actually get pineapples. Is it worth it? It doesn't cost a huge amount to buy pineapples from the supermarket. However, I know that I can grow them, and I can grow them in our climate. I also wanted to show you just quickly before we do the last project. These are my tomatoes. So like I said, it is the beginning of September. We did put the seeds in three weeks ago into pots like this, one variety in each cell type thing, and then we've separated them out. So I have 6 different varieties. We're hoping for a much warmer summer this year, so we might actually get a much more decent crop of particularly the bigger tomatoes. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was our potato slips. So we had some sweet potatoes that grew some stems off them, and we could just throw them away, but I thought about the idea of growing them, keeping them in water and letting the roots start on them, so that come say the end of September into October, they would be ready for me to plant them out into the garden. So what I did was I took them off each of the sweet potatoes and then planted them into a jar of water, which I have sitting along with everything else that's sitting on the windowsill, sitting on the windowsill. So some of these you can see. So this one in particular doesn't really have much, or it's just starting to get something growing. This one here is starting to get some roots growing, but there's actually a couple in particular that it's much more obvious the roots that are growing. So they've just been sitting on the windowsill in water that I change every couple of days so it doesn't go too rank, in some sun, and it seems to be doing the trick. So come September, I can plant them out into the garden. Otherwise, if I were to buy sweet potato little punnets for a sweet potato, which would be one slip in that punnet, I'm looking at $5 or $6. This I can grow from the sweet potato that may have been left a little bit too long through the winter and ended up getting those shoots coming off. Make use of that. I still use the sweet potato when I cooked with it, when I pulled those off, but they've been sitting on the windowsill, going to work, ready to plant out in the garden and give us some sweet potatoes. So hopefully all of those things were helpful to think about. Striking plants to get your own plants. So I used the Leptospermum as an example of how I have done that. The pineapples and the sweet potatoes. So things that some of which you can grow from things that have been store-bought, making the most of what we have access to. So hopefully that has been helpful. Thanks for joining us as we live our life less ordinary.